favorite buddy, back again, Warp Charge Gaming live. Brad and I are from Battlegrounds here right now, and then we got Zach and Chris hanging out with us tonight as usual, and this is episode 4 of talking about the wonderful game Infinity by Corvus Belli. Yeah, there's an exciting couple weeks have gone by. Particularly, the big news on the block is just a few days ago. I mean, we got Wave 2 with some sectorials and different armies that hadn't been in the game yet in N4. And then we got the Season 12 pack all at the same time, the new ITS Season 12, 12 years of the ITS. And it's awesome. I'm super excited about, I mean, I got the first mission I played out of it was Power Pack, which you can see on the channel, versus the Invincible Army, with the new QK that just got brought back in with Wave 2, with a little bit of help from Zach coaching me along there, working on the double combat group. Notoriously, I think as a new player, as a new player symptom, I like to shove all my orders into one group, especially with the 15 order count, and then to kind of refill that main pool with the secondary pool, or just like have. Well,
I mean, I wouldn't call that a new player symptom. That's a new strategy for N4.
Sure.
Like, everyone's going to need to change their mindset for that.
Yeah, I guess that I feel like I haven't adapted or gotten strong with the 2-order pool concept, and that was something that existed even in 3, but even more so now. You have to really make decisions on a double pool if you try to have them both have a lot of activities going on. So just trying to take really thinking about the order expenditure of the armies and who's going to be getting those orders and making 2 supporting combat groups. And that's where NCO and tactical awareness is a way that you can bolster that a little bit further. Got Andrew Simmons shouting out there. What's up, buddy? I saw you tuning in when we had we got another big thing that happened in Warp Charge Land is we got a 5th camera integrated in, which is really exciting. Just for the sake of throwing out some news right off the bat, I can show a little bit about that action. I got some pictures of some boards here. Check out the forest board. I just posted a little mini video giving a little tour of this. I'm excited about the forest board. It took me freaking forever because our poor Warsenal Terrain here, I believe, is the company that made this stuff. It got a bit trashed at the store. It's been around for a long time, and so I had to kind of get the MDF to talk and ingrain it here with this aquarium terrain and whatnot. But I'm really excited to play on this bad boy, and that's gonna be fun.
Yeah, I like that board because I think it's a good epitome of the new N4 cover rules, because that board would have been probably unplayable in N3 simply because of how cover worked. But because now that height matters, and the cover doesn't require like 1/3, I think this board is a really good example of what you can do in N4.
Yeah, I played Brad on that board once. I don't remember what the context was. It might have just been for fun. But it was OSS versus, I can't remember what he was playing. And the sniper it was almost a joke. It was basically just like, I shoot you, you have no cover because technically you don't get a third covered. And it was just like one after another, just murder one guy after another. It was pretty brutal. But nowadays, you could easily play much more differed terrain than you could before. Yeah, it's not as important to have those 90-degree angles where you can slice your model a third and still get covered. Now it's just like, well, you get a more organic terrain, I guess is the way I'm trying to put it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think
you'll be more imaginative.
It has been really fun with that. That I do really like the N4 cover rules. Here's a desert board that we did a few bat reps on. I actually integrated some, I think it's Micro Art Studios, different MDF terrain. I took away we played a hidden facilities match that was out of the casual game PDF for the Betrayal packet. Some people were interested in it. It's actually, if you just go to the Infinity page, you can go to the download section and go to the casual game packet for. And it was a really fun.
That was a fun mission, yeah.
Yeah, it's a really fun mission. I built kind of a hidden facility, if you will, and we did a combined. It was, Luke went hard on me with a avatar and came running at me with Norkius as well. Here's a look at the inside. Just a fun time playing with the Game Out of You Warzone or Kim Zone walls there. Kind of cool. But yeah, looking forward to things to come with a 5th camera now pointing at the at the dice. We actually can have a street view, kind of like this Avatar forest look here. You can see the camera right up on the action and looking through these crevices. It's going to be a lot easier to see the under the board AROs and whatnot.
Yeah, you've been nuts with those cameras.
It's been really fun.
Someone needs to take your credit card away.
The just for hilariousness and because I'm sitting here playing in the pictures, I'm putting up a lazy Susan on the screen right now because the thing I can't get out of my head that I want people to come to Battlegrounds and walk up to the infinity tables we built, like the forest board and whatnot, and for it to be rotating with with maybe some chanting going on, a light facing down, a little bit of smoke effects. But I also thought it'd be hilarious that when we do the intros that we could rotate the board around in a circle. That'd be awesome, right? So I can't stop thinking about that, and it's actually not that much. Thank you for your support on Patreon. I'm going to use some of those dollars to lazy Susan our board here at Battlegrounds, and it's going to be badass. But yeah, so that's some of the good times. Let's talk about some of the ITS Season 12 stuff or Wave 2 stuff, whatever you guys are wanting to jump into first. We got QK patch on Zach's head there. So I know you're excited about some QK.
I'm loving the new QK.
Man, was the Azrael that thank you for bringing off to the shop here for me to get to put in some bat reps, but was that thing, because it's in vanilla Hakkaslam.
It was trash. It was absolute trash.
It was, yeah.
It was.
It really was.
It was not even worth talking about.
But did
I really feel like he epitomizes his name Azrael, named after the angel of death.
Did we get to even see how cool he was, though, before QK came out? Was he not a vanilla option?
No, he was not a vanilla.
Oh, that's cool. So as QK dropped, then we also got him as an option of vanilla.
Yeah, we got him and the John Bazans and the Sec Band.
Yeah, guys, he really rocks. He's a heavy infantry profile with armor 5, BTS 6, I believe.
No, I think he's BTS 3. I think that's still his weak point.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay. Well,
Yeah.
he got the big armor. Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah.
Oh,
Armor
yeah,
5. Yeah. But the goodness is that all of it, whatever profile you choose, it's going to have continuous damage on the weapon and +1 damage at that. And he comes with an AP HMG option or a Feuerbach +1 burst. But man, 4 shots with that bad
Yes,
boy.
Eric Hofsa, but no one cares about Hofsa still because they didn't get anything new to match their background.
Oh.
What is the Hofsa again?
The Hofsa,
are they linkable?
they are wild card linkable. Yes.
Oh yeah, the guys that hollow project or not hollow project.
The Hofsa background is that they are command cadre. They went to command school. They've gotten all the training to be leaders and to integrate and to help integrate all the various different aspects of the QK force. And they got absolutely nothing in their rework.
Yeah.
They didn't even get any price change, I don't think. They got nothing.
Are we saying they got continuous damage though, or no?
No.
They got nothing.
They got
Absolutely nothing.
Gotcha.
I think that's probably just from what I can gather. The ones that are out right now, they're just they're like, well, we'll give you a couple things to make it sort of relevant, but we're not gonna rework the whole sectorial yet because we want to do that.
Yeah, glad you spent all that time at officer training, but this Ghulam over here who's just smarter than everyone else, he's just better at command.
Pretty much.
So let's just go with that guy.
Yeah.
I had a lot of fun playing that new Azrael model, a lot of fun playing QK. And Hakkaslam in general has been kind of like Rama, Yara Haddad has been super fun to run, and that made Rama. Honestly, I was telling Brad before the show that Rama started being comfortable for me when I added Carmen in there, actually. Just having my Carmen with an antipode and some smoke, I was like, okay, like I can move around now. I feel okay. Smoke is a nice tool, and when you get used to it, you kind of miss it when it's not there. So ITS Season 12. So one of the fun things we did is our community here is that we chose 3 missions. This was Brad's idea to play for the next 2 weeks. and then we'll switch out the 3 missions and play something else. But when we come to have our meetups for our just random game days, we're going to bring 2 lists of the same faction as if we were showing up to a tournament and playing one of those 3 missions. So we're still bringing 2 lists each time, but with variable different factions we might want to play. And of course, like as if it was in a tournament, so 2 of the same faction. So looking forward to that. We're going to do Mind Wipe, Safe Area, and Frontline to kick it off. So 2 kind of area control based ones, and then I think some of the funnest types. What is the mission? Unmasking and looting and sabotage and power pack, and the damn mission that we're playing, Mind Wipe. Yeah, that's new to the season 12 as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's not too
That's
many.
brand new.
There's not too many brand new ones though. Is
Mind Wipe and I can't remember the name.
Mind
Panic
Wipe
Room
and Panic Room.
Yeah. are the only new ones.
So some of the big things is like, one, I was super surprised that you can still remove. Now this is we've talked about this a little bit, but you can remove 2 orders from limited insertion. Limited insertion is essentially not a thing, right? Like there's no protection of only taking.
It was an ITS 10 and 11 rule.
And we're thinking that, like, this seems like the consensus of people that are like, it's not that bad, is that there's a lot more
NCO tactical awareness,
NCO. Like that the N4 has kind of compensated for this already. Would you guys think that's kind of what's going down, or?
Yeah. I think orders are really well compensated. And even if we didn't have that case, the order difference between 10 and 15 orders is not huge. I mean, it's noticeable, but
not as noticeable as 10 and 21 or something like that.
Yeah, like 10 and 21 were used to be, but now that 15 is the most. And Chris, you're not coming through if you're talking. No.
I got you now.
Yeah, it's just your mic's
Very,
a little
very
rough.
light.
All right.
A little rough. You're looking good though. I guess there's data trackers and liaison officers are a little bit more few and far between, if not there at all.
Liaison
really, right?
officers not there. I think data tracker is on one mission.
Yeah, I think it's one mission has data tracker.
Mind Wipe has kind of a data tracker-esque quality to it, but you're choosing a hacker and they get a regular order.
A regular order and a special program.
A special program.
Yeah, which is pretty cool. Classified's still around. We still got the classified deck, of course, and HVTs, which is just, after playing so many of those core rulebook missions, it was like, oh my gosh, classifieds and HVTs, this feels right. It's good. I was happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and as for Panic Room, I really like that idea they went with, where you add something to an existing troop. Like this one, you add a special program to an existing troop. It makes them feel like they're more of an operator for that particular mission.
Yeah.
And that they're an important individual.
Mm-hmm. I forgot the name of the mission in N3, but in Mind Wipe, you have to have anti-material close combat weapons or D-charges.
Yeah,
or
looting and sabotage is the
Looting
same
and
one.
sabotage, yeah. So, like, it used to, I remember in that mission in N3, you could do it on turn 1. You could go beat down their crate or whatever. And there was only 1 in that mission. But I like how there's the you can't go and use the anti-material CC on their crate or their server until turn 2.
Yeah, and looting and sabotaging is the odd one out, because there was another one before that where it was very similar, where you had to wait until turn 2. But in that one, you could shoot it with anti-material. So
yeah,
that was not a great mission. I don't remember what that mission was. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad that there's still crazy missions like Biotech Vor. Personally, I love those. Like, as far as where it seems really hard, I love sprinkled into the mix. Like, even in a three round event, if there's like 2 missions that are pretty generic or normal, and one that's like wildly crazy or wildly different than the rest and requires a particular list. Like, I'm okay. I like that blend, and I think Biotech Vor is not a non-competitive mission. It just takes attention to detail on how you're going to accomplish the mission.
Yep.
You know.
Biotech 4 affects different armies differently, which is the only issue I have with it.
Yeah.
If you're a vanilla army, you're going to have a hard time. If you're not a vanilla army and you're heavily fire teamed, you're going to have an easier time. Such as if you have Animatarchos or Triads, it'll be even easier to get through. But Biotech 4 has a problem of just not being equal to all the armies.
Well, don't we kind of find that though, like with like quadrant control or just like area control missions, like the impersonators kick ass at it. Like Hakaslam is like we do. So let's talk about one of the things Brad found about how Yara Hadad has strategic deployment inside of the
Assassins, yeah.
Which I had never known that how strategic deployment can actually give that benefit to the fire team.
Yeah,
that's sexy.
That's the point.
and the fact that I was like, I love Yara Hadad, and I was running it in Rama, but Brad's like, oh, I really love Yara Hadad because I get strategic deployment.
She's
on
really
top
good
of it.
vanilla.
I didn't pay attention to her until I played her one game, and then I looked at her profile, and I'm like, oh man, the strategic deployment.
With that plus Fidesz and Al Jabel, like that's so much like up in your grill if you want to be up in your grill.
Yeah.
Or just problems or things.
Well, in a quadrant control mission, it's just like, hey, I got a core link.
You're there.
Right in a quadrant, and I don't even have to move it now. Like.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, my quadrant control up in Baltimore Brawl when I took Assassins was 3 Fidesz, 2 Farzans, and who the fuck else cares what else is there because you already have 3 Fidesz in a quadrant. Have fun with that. It's in your quadrant.
Yeah, so if you, as a war corps that's like designing an event, if you knew that, that the Hakaslam is going to do particularly well, or maybe like these other biotech vors, some factions are going to do particularly well, there's a balancing act, I think, to picking the right missions that may favor one faction, but maybe not in the other mission or whatever, maybe, yeah?
Yeah, but then you have you're looking at one oddball out because Shazvasi can't really do that because they're paying a hefty amount for their impersonators who are just as easy to figure out. So Shazvasi, I wouldn't say really have that much of the same benefit that Assassins do, and especially now where we're limited to 15 units. If those Fidesz go down, then they're done. And now there's a lot more items out there that are giving bonuses to discover. There's more biotech or biometric
advisors. Yep.
Advisors, yeah. So I don't think it's as much of an issue as biotech for simply screwing vanilla, because
fair.
there's a lot of vanilla.
Yeah, there's no link teams. Yeah, that's fair. What about there's medium infantry. Some of the things that we had in our previous ITS 11, like we don't have medium infantry get forward deploy +4 any longer.
But they got 4/4 moves.
The forward deploy was to counter the fact that they were slow.
Right. What is some? Is there anything? I haven't got to honestly read the missions front to back. I'm just like
the new scoring system is very interesting.
Yeah. I like it a lot.
I actually love it.
I don't know. I like it, but then I don't like it, but then I do like it. I need to see it in action. I need to see how it works in some tournaments to see, okay, maybe this does work. But I really like how they're trying to incentivize playing the mission, and even if you're losing, still play the mission. Don't give up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's great.
I'm hoping we're going to start seeing less and less end of game scoring, because a lot of these missions are kind of like you can be neck and neck the whole mission, but then one dude dies and suddenly it's a huge swing your way. I do not like missions like that. I feel round to round scoring is a better metric of playing, of knowing if a player is good or not, simply because round to round they have to be on top of their game, as opposed to waiting until the end and just blitzing forward.
And it's a lot of the time it's like you could be doing real good the first 2 rounds, and just get a couple bad rolls and lose the guys holding quadrants, or lose the guys that were going to do something important, and you're done. Like you have no more specialists now.
Yeah. I played what's the one where you have to control I think it was a custom mission where you had to control a communication satellite at the end. Basically, I had the game, I think 6-1 in my favor. All he did was just drop the trooper down next to the beacon, walk in, and it flipped to 5-4, something like that. I'm like, well, that's cool. You have barely anything left, but you dropped the trooper down and survived the shot and got it.
Yeah, and that's where sometimes those control missions too, whether it's either a quadrant or just a touching something, versus say turn by turn. Second can be really powerful, and sometimes just really advantageous on some missions more than other to get to be that second to act. Can really sway one mission's balance. From balance should be just as much going first or second is not one over the other is extremely valuable.
One of the missions I looked at that got changed, it was one of my favorite missions when it first came out, was Capture and Protect, where you had to activate like an antenna or something before you got the flag. Now it changed to just get the flag and get back. Now it's scored round by round.
Yeah, that's cool.
So it's like you got to get the flag turn one, hold it,
Yeah.
and you score by round.
Do you know if you score additional points by round if you drag it back to your deployment zone?
Yes.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah,
That's cool.
Well, I think it's end of game. You get additional points if it's in your deployment zone.
it might be
that's
that,
fair.
but
That's
but it's
cool.
like you got to hold it. I think
Yeah.
it's like 2 points per turn. So
that's awesome.
yeah.
Oh, that sounds like a lot of fun. Makes me want to play Capture and Protect.
No, I fully support any mission that is round by round scoring.
I like the intertwining, the hybrid of the in-game and round by round.
Speaking
results.
of round by rounds, they got rid of transmission matrix in this season.
That's sad. I like transmission.
I know, that's one of my favorites.
I don't think I even got to play that one, to be honest. Yeah. There's still several missions I never got to play. It's like you almost have to, every time as I was learning, especially in N3, I was always playing the same stuff we were going to be doing at tournaments just to try to get to perform in a tournament decently. So I was constantly playing the same missions.
Hopefully Baltimore Brawl 2021.
Come on.
Yeah, I know. I want to go back.
Yeah, me too. Events. You were also mentioning there was a few addendums to some of the classifieds, and Brad was pointed out that Predator, the one where you used to have to kill 2 guys in CC, apparently now you can coup de grace.
coup de grace 'em.
Yeah. So
Oh, what?
Yeah, a little bit easier to come by.
I thought you always could.
No, you had to do it in
Coup de
close
grace was a
combat.
CC attack.
No, you had to actually kill them in CC.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Interesting.
Yeah, so that was a cool little note.
Well, don't use too much shock, or you won't have bodies to.
Well, I
Coup de
mean,
grace.
that extreme prejudice and the coup de grace, I mean, even changing the coup de grace is still hard because, man, shock is
Yeah, it's everywhere.
going out
Yeah,
like
but-
candy.
TA is also everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, easy enough to kill somebody. Yeah, so just so that we're clear for the people that haven't read it yet, it's 3 points for winning. It's 1 additional point if you score at least 5 points. So that could mean you could even lose the game, but if you scored at least 5 points, you're going to get a tournament point. And then there's that's the
are you talking about the new?
the tournament scoring? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
gotcha. Okay.
There's the offensive bonus, the defensive bonus, and then just winning. So if you win, you get 3 points. You get an offensive bonus if you get at least
5 points.
and that's even if you lost. And then you can get defensive. You get +1 point if you kept the game within a 2-point margin.
Yep.
And I think that's only if you lost. That's a losing victory point, right?
Yeah.
I
If
think
you
so.
lost but kept within a 2-point margin.
Yeah.
So if you win, the most you can get is 4. If
4.
you lost, the most you can get is 2.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're always trying to get to 5 points, but at the minimum, you're trying to keep the game within 2.
Yeah. I mean, it'll be interesting to see that because you can put losers against folks who got ties.
Yep.
Because I mean, if you got a tie, you got 1 tournament point. If you manage to if you both get 5 or more, then you're both at 2. So you could very well be paired with people who are tied as opposed to people who lost.
And some people get loud about that fact, but I haven't studied the missions enough to say that that's not okay. Like how many times is you're gonna score?
I think that will even out because if you lost your first one simply because you're not great, but you tied your second one because you know the game and you managed to keep your opponent to a tie, then the person who tied probably is going to walk away with a win more often than not in practice. But I mean, again, we need to see this new system in action to really see how it's working. Because this is not something I've seen. So,
All right, come on, next week tournament.
Gosh, can't wait.
I'll send a robot with arms to move my figures.
Just get your hazmat
Yeah.
suit on.
When there was a recent YouTube video from Corvus Belli with and Bostria, Carlos, he's all just like if you can, keep it safe, but please give us the data. They really want to see too, like, how the N4 is performing, and they're, we can't get to see like we usually do.
And I know there's some folks planning tabletop simulator tournaments. I know Old Dominion's going on tabletop simulator.
Yep.
Vol is running some tabletop simulator tournaments. He has been this whole time, so that's nothing different. But folks are going to tabletop simulator for tournaments, and it's working for them. That's great. Not my cup of tea, but
do we know
whatever
if,
keeps the game going.
Is Corvus Belli accepting that as IPS official?
Yep, they are.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh cool. Well, I don't see why not. I mean, it's
Interesting times.
The spirit of Infinity, as long as nobody's trying to cheat and you can play an effective, real game. It's just virtual reality,
Yeah.
Even though you do have to be more liberal with certain things, like whether a base is. Sometimes the physics of the terrain features just won't let your base like touch the wall all the way. So you got to do a lot of declaration of intention and whatnot,
We'll have to wait for New Zealand to post results too, because they have like three COVID cases for the whole country. So, I think there's no lockdowns, there's no social distancing stuff. So they'll be like one of the countries of the world hosting ITS events.
I know, right?
We can all sit there and drool.
Pretty much.
Yeah, right.
Jealous.
I need to get my War Core points.
Hey. Honestly,
I ran out of them.
It's like a weird Twilight Zone whenever I watch a video of a tournament without mask on and shit. I'm like, wow, that's this other life.
What year is this?
Yeah, exactly. It's like this alternate reality. So over the past couple weeks, just as a random aside, I'd have notes of a couple of rules that I found to be interesting and have helped expand my mind, and particularly, and just to pair with this, we got asked a question on one of the Facebook posts we did for Warp Charge, just like, hey, this week it'd be great if you talked about great ways to support tags. With the 15 order count, people are more likely to bring tags, and with the regular order, the tactical awareness is really valuable. Gives you a little bit more orders to work with in a limited order pool. Oh, nice. Next weekend here in Auckland, we have a tag tournament. Oh, a tag tournament. Nice. I saw some people doing 400-point limited insertion. That sounds fun to me.
Do you accept new citizens?
Yeah.
What's your green card policy?
Right. I have an Infinity Army. Let's go.
What are job prospects like? Actually, I'm working remote right now. That might work out.
Hey, I'm 100% remote. I can go where the hell I want to go.
There you go.
I'm a citizen of Auckland now.
Yeah.
Bye.
What's the cost of living in Auckland?
Worthy reason to leave.
It's wonderful to live in.
Yeah, no kidding. I wouldn't mind it. Especially right now, so we could play some damn events, man.
I can live with some hobbits and some elves, some dwarves.
Well, relevant for the Auckland event where they're going to have a tag tournament.
15 days quarantine, you're good to go. All right.
Nice.
Oh,
okay.
man. There you go.
What is good support for a tag? And then conversely, some of the rules I'd like to talk about that I'm excited about is I've been learning more about EM ammunition, or I guess electromagnetic ammunition maybe. But the effects of EM and how typically it'll isolate its target, but if it's a heavy infantry or tag, then it'll also immobilize it. It'll immobilize B state. And one of the rules that Chris, you pointed out to me on the WGC Infinity Facebook page, I was in question of if you are affected as a heavy infantry or tag with EM ammunition and you're isolated and immobilized, do you take those two different reset results of -9 for isolated and -3 reset for immobilized and add them together?
You think of states as debuffs, and debuffs stack.
Yeah. Yeah, we learned that they stack. Yep. Now, you guys made me feel less bad about it, where it was like, dang, that's really hard to get out of. But I guess in N3, you couldn't even get out of without an engineer. If you got immobilized, you're just immobilized. Now in N3, we actually have a way to reset out of that. And it's just that if you're isolated plus immobilized, that's going to be a -9 reset, -12 reset.
12, yeah.
Yeah.
Maggie can do it on 2s.
Which is on a willpower roll,
Yeah.
right? So so even high physique models isn't going to matter. It's about your willpower, and I guess Pano gets screwed in that department. Willpower 12 pretty regularly there.
Yeah.
Even a lot of their tags have willpower 12, which
not getting
Have
out
fun
of
with
that.
that.
Yeah, and their
Yeah,
engineer
you need
has
an
willpower
engineer.
12.
Who also willpower 12.
Yeah, jeez.
I can never not play Hakasam. I've just gotten used to just.
We're
base
too rich
14.
for school.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, you can effectively totally shut down your enemy's large pieces, heavy infantry and tags, just using EM ammunition. And so that leads into the support that you need for your tag is a way to not be affected by the EM ammunition. Because you could be either hacked, you could be hacked that way, like right. There's Oblivion.
So I feel like the heavy infantry and tag game fundamentally changed. It got cheaper and it's easier to take them, but the issue is hackers can now be more prevalent in what they can do. You're not going to see, that camera could be an assault hacker, or it could be a killer hacker, or it could be a normal guy. It's either going to be a hacker, a normal guy, or a killer hacker. So you're having to make sure that you're taking these big boys, but also that you have some InfoWar defense set up as well, which it seems like they very specifically spread out to specific units, such as the Evo being a dedicated hacker unit that really has a lot of buff and defensive aspects to it. But also, if you notice that a lot of tags now in sectorals can duo. So you can drag a killer hacker with you, because I think a lot of sectorals actually have some kind of killer hacker that can go with them, or a normal hacker that can go with them.
Or like the Rafik bot is a repeater, and you can just drag a repeater around with you as well.
Yeah.
As another.
Or since Lila is a wild card, Lila can just be dragged around by Maggie. But the tag, there's going to be more tags, there's going to be more heavy infantry. I think what we're going to see is we're going to see a lot more info war going on in the future to counteract this, where a lot of folks will usually ignore hacking, because when I ran Assassins, I just ignored the hacking game completely. Now I can't. I'm probably going to need to take a normal hacker Bareed as an answer to any heavy infantry link teams or tags that I will very probably see on the board.
Yeah, just to ask for my own sake, if someone is hacking your tag with like Oblivion or whatever, and you have a killer hacker within zone of control of the tag, does that mean that you can killer hack like Trinity, the one that's doing the Oblivion to your?
No, you have to be within range of the hacker, either be a repeater or them.
Yeah, you yourself have to be within. And then, so let's say that you are within range. Is it then face to face, or are they normal hacking your tag?
If they're hacking the tag, they're hacking the tag, and your killer hacker's getting a free shot.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah, I just wanted. I thought that's how it was. I just want to confirm that fact. But then I thought it was interesting that, like, you killer hackers, like, if you decide that when you're building your list that you're having to, it's really paining you to slide that killer hacker in there because you want to take something else instead. An engineer effectively can solve all the problems of whatever you could have happen to your heavy infantry or tag. So it's like you could try to have an ARO presence or some sort of way to anti-hack with a killer hacker, or you could just be set up well with an engineer, and just fix that problem pretty easily that way too.
Yes and no. Engineers would require orders to get to them and to fix. Whereas if you have a killer hacker, there's a repeater there, your killer hacker could go into the repeater range and try to killer hacker the other individual. Granted, they don't get through firewalls anymore, but Trinity is a hell of a program.
Oh, so they do not get through firewalls anymore.
Yeah.
Nope, killer hackers don't have that bonus anymore.
Yeah, I've not read all the rules, so I mean,
or you just hunt down the enemy hackers.
Okay.
Yeah, no more
But-
plus 3.
Yeah, I mean, I really think we're going to have a lot more info war in the game now.
Yeah.
Funny enough, we get less hackers, but we get more info war.
And there's what's interesting about, we talk about hackers, but what came to my surprise lately is just like I went against nomads with the corregidors and he shot a blitzen at me, and that's a long range weapon, like goes up to 32 inches.
Blitz has been in the game for a while.
Yeah, fantastic ARO piece whenever it's doing EM on a tag or
and one thing I noticed is that EM ammunition is now more prevalent. Some folks have had their name cultures changed to zappers, or they get blitzens now as opposed to something else, or in addition to.
There's a lot more EM mines too.
Yeah, more EM mines.
I was going to comment on one of the things that kind of put a stump on me was I think it was one of the Norkius profiles actually, but EMCC weapons, and it actually like on the damage says like N plus EM, and I guess it's a normal attack with EM attached to it.
Yeah, EM has always been weird in close combat. EM, you always roll 2 saves. One is against your armor for an actual piece of damage, and the other is the EM hit, which you're rolling against.
And that's a BTS and half.
That's a BTS half. If it gets through, then you take the effects for being hit with EM.
It's 2 BTS saves, right? I think it's 2 BTS.
Yeah, I think it's
AP.
2 BTS saves.
It's like double action AP.
Yeah, it's
BTS.
Was it season 10? I ran Bakunin and I just did those Morlocks with EMCC weapons, and they worked.
It's pretty badass. It's pretty badass.
Yeah, I got hit in a tournament with Raul with his EM weapon. I'm like, wait, so hold on. EM doesn't usually do a wound, so how does this work? We had to get the tournament organizer, and it's like, so how does EM work in close combat?
Yeah, it stumped me on a live stream, and somebody walked us through it, and I was like, okay, cool. I'm so glad the chat was helping me out through that one, because I just like, a head twist, how do I apply this? But yeah, EM has been pretty interesting to me, and just like really kind of studying the isolated situation and immobilize. 2 saves versus half BTS, 1 wound per fail, and isolate.
Is that how it works?
Yeah, that's what they. You don't take the normal armor save.
They sort of simplified it.
Yeah.
So it's a weird DA thing.
Yeah, it's just DA, AP, BTS.
Man,
it's half BTS DA now.
Interesting.
With an isolation, with also an isolation rule.
Well, that's a lot
so it's gonna do the damage, and if you somehow don't die, it's gonna also isolate and immobilize. Yeah. Yeah, it changed in N3 or from N3. Yeah. So
that is vicious.
It is vicious. Yeah. So and if you look around, it's not like you got a ton of it. That's what I realized lately too. Is I got really surprised the other day in my youth inside the game. But somebody was doing they had a hacking plus upgrade. It was a jazz hacker inside the Nomads, I believe, and he had a hacking plus upgrade and was doing white noise through repeaters. And I was like, whoa, I was not expecting this. Like, the whole time I'm like, all right, that's the hacker. That hacker has white noise capability, but he's way over there. And
I'm really sad Killer Hackers lost white noise. I used it quite often.
And the hacking plus upgrade is rare. It's not.
It really is. White noise is hard to come by,
it's
and
hard
I don't
to come
like
by.
it. Because Lila was a great answer to MSV stuff in Hakazlam, and now she's just kind of like, well, I'm here, guys. What's up? I don't help.
Yeah. Now it's really just Hacking Device Plus. I mean, and there's not that many Hacking Device Plus people.
No, they it feels a lot like N2 Paradiso, where you had hacking devices, Nomads and Aleph had hacking device pluses, and that's about it. You got a killer hacker here or there, but no one cares about them. I'm sorry, no, they didn't have killer hackers back then. It was just hackers.
It was just hacking.
Killer hackers came in Paradiso in 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a weird economy. We're going to see we get a lot less programs and hacking devices, but with all the heavy armor and tags and ammunition, I feel like we're going to be seeing a lot more info war just as a necessity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that comms attack. And I mean heck, even the Mudawise with the jammers and the Emirats. That stuff's all. Those are great counters to tags. And so when we talk about, just to go back to that question of like, how do I support my tag? One thing I would recommend is not pushing it too far out into the middle too early. It's like these threats that we're talking about are the things that you need to be able to recognize your opponent having access to and not allowing your tag to get easily defeated by one of these counter weapons.
Yeah, the 9-point mutt is the most dangerous thing in the world to a tag.
Right.
Yeah.
So sometimes
He's got a boarding shotgun and an E merit. If he survives getting shot with his E merit, then he's just going to boarding shotgun you till you're dead because you're immobilized and
Yeah.
isolated.
So maybe instead of killer hackers and engineers, sometimes it's just about taking hunters and recognizing what you need to go hunting. You know, whether it's parachutists or forward deployers, or maybe that's if you're using impersonators, that's what your speculo killer goes suicides into, is the guy that has the EM grenades or whatever.
Or having a strong ARO game. And cover.
Strong ARR game, and I
Yeah.
mean, just being careful with the tag. It's not a Rambo piece, you know.
Yeah.
I played
It's too
for
expensive to be.
yeah. I mean, I was like, tags are terrible for a couple of years because I just was like, oh, I'm gonna Rambo these up the field and kill everything. And it's like, no, I gotta
Yeah,
put them upfield,
Maggie has
take
always
them
been,
back.
Yeah.
I use Maggie the same way that the Hakazam Doctrine states in the book. It's a hammer. I'm sorry, it's an anvil. It
Yeah.
sits there, anchors aside, takes out what it can while everyone else pushes against it.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely.
You don't Rambo with a tag. You use it decisively where it needs to be and then pull it back to safety.
Yeah, I think you can get away with a little bit more Rambo with a Silhouette 6 tag just because they're generally a kind of just a beefy heavy infantry piece.
Yep.
But the big Silhouette 7 and 8, I just feel like they can't hide enough. They're always getting shot by something. And so three structures, no matter Silhouette
Yeah.
6, 7, or 8. You know, the ones that have 3 structure, I mean, a missile could take you out. So
Yeah, that's a
or
weapon.
continuous damage.
Oh, I get terrified by explosive with the tag.
Yeah.
Because if you played enough to get a one shot on a tag from an explosive weapon, it feels bad. You know.
It does.
Or I mean,
Yeah.
a crit now too. It's like, okay, now 4 saves. You know.
Yeah.
It
It feels worse.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I mean, if they're in a link team, that's a 2-shot missile launcher. Sometimes there's missile launcher plus 1 burst. I don't know, you know, like maybe that's something a Feuerbach plus 1 burst inside of a link team is something you could really go against, you know. But yeah, you can die easily from those type of weapons and having the right stuff. And just like what I was thinking of just now is one of the things I've seen lately from newer players, and I know I've done the same thing, but wanting to put too much in ARO duty. And if you are going to put it's very tempting to put your tag in ARO duty, especially
balance.
especially even suppression. You know, if you go second and how you can start out in suppression. Sometimes putting your tag in suppression starting out the game when you're going second is like, yeah, I want to do that. It's just important that if you're going to put it on ARO duty, you recognize what it's going to potentially be going up against in that turn, and that it has a retreat, that you find the biggest piece of terrain, put yourself out in the open and take some shots, but have a place to fail your guts to and be able to go out of line of sight after the fact, because you can't go prone, obviously, you know.
Yeah, you want to waste the opponent's orders without losing your own units.
Yeah.
Well, and you also really need to make sure that if you're going to go in suppression, you don't go in suppression like completely on one side, because you've only got 24 inches. It's very easy to go, oh yeah, I'll suppress, and then you're like, I can't hit anything right now because they're shooting me with a sniper rifle, and they're
It's
just
a
gonna
waste.
get that first shot. It's free, or a missile launcher. So if you're going to go in suppression, being more central in the board is pretty important.
Yeah, or a nice tight lane. Of course, you can always opt to break the suppression, but then it's kind of a wasted activity in the first place.
Right.
But yeah, on that subject of AROs and like how to figure out your defense, like how much you put in defensive position and having that kind of fallback. I think hidden deployment is a really tricky one. Like there was a new player we had this week learning JSA. And it was hilarious because every time he said, we would be like, okay, what's that guy have? And he'd be like, whole paragraph of, I got mimetism -6 stealth, fucking martial arts level 4, and hidden deployment. He'd have this huge list of things. And, you know, hidden deployment can be a tricky thing at first to get your head wrapped around.
Yeah.
And particularly like he was in his first game, he was going second. And he just could not resist the urge to jump out of hidden deployment and shoot somebody. You didn't know I was here, you know, haha. And when to do that, if you're going to do it, is so clutch. You know, waiting till the end of their order pool, waiting till the second half of their order when they come into your line of fire for the first time.
Hidden stack up on ARO duty.
Yeah,
Put your hidden deploy unit next to the TR bot. They take out the TR bot. They're like, okay, lane's safe, move across the lane, and then pop out.
Right. Yeah. Or like the double noctifier. Nobody expects the double knock. You bring the one, and then they're like, okay, I got that. I figured it. Cool. And then you bring the second one. They're like, no. Right at that right time. I love bringing out the hidden deployment on their very last order, because then they can't deal with it at all after that fact. Especially if you got them in the back. I was telling Brad in one of the bat reps we had, it was with one of our newer player, Luke. I loved his idea. There was a moment, like now the Imitrons for combined, they're no longer just like deployable equipment. They're actually line troops. So they can, even though they're 0 on all their stats, they're still troopers that can do things. They can go prone. They can do lookouts. I think they can dodge, but they have Phys 0, so they can't really dodge. But they can do easy things like lookout, right? And so he needed to get his Noctifier to reveal itself so that the order would be in his order pool on his next turn, but he wasn't getting any AROs for his hidden deployment, so he used an Imatron to look out to be able to give the option for his entire army to get a dodge opportunity, and that broke the Noctifier out of its hidden deployment to be in order in his next turn. I thought that was just funny, something I don't think about. The fact that one model can have you across the entire board get to change face at a -3 Fizz, that's pretty cool.
Within 8 inches, I think.
I probably still would have kept it in hidden deployment, because people forget about the hidden deployment stuff by turn 2 and 3.
He was low.
That's
He was low on orders. But no, the lookout. I made a cheat sheet today.
Okay.
But yeah, the lookout, you can across the entire board. Like if a model says lookout.
Okay, I thought it was just with the zone of control.
Yeah, it's wild.
Nope,
Like
lookouts army wide.
Yeah.
Whoa.
So if you're like, okay, I see. Like somebody's like, hey, you got a free order. I don't know if you can do this to a camo token. Like say they gave you like a free discover. They show you the camo token on the second part of their order. Then you're like, cool, I look out, and you get a army-wide change face at a -3 Fizz, which is pretty wild.
Has that always been a rule? I've never seen
never
anyone
used
use
it.
or
Yeah.
never heard anyone even talk
Well,
about it.
because lookout's an ARO, so you're giving up your ARO to do lookout.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I guess like an Imatron, its only ARO is
Just lookout.
to exist. You might as well make it lookout. Yeah.
That's fair. Yeah.
Or if you're in a crucial moment where it's like it's worth its life to turn everybody else around,
Yeah.
Hell,
What can declare? Does it have to be a trooper?
I was about to say, I think even like a helper bot, like a slave bot, can do
Yep,
lookout.
okay.
Yep.
So
That's a perfect use for a Doctor
Yeah.
Bot.
ARO, yeah.
Exactly.
What? No, dodge in close combat. That's the use for the Doctor Bot.
That's right.
Yeah. So it's funny because I'd never seen that kind of thing either, and you don't even think about it. But sometimes when a newer player's reading the rules, they latch on to certain things that we gloss over time. It's pretty cool. That's why I love playing with a lot of different folks, and I also love doing the bat reps because we get a lot of feedback from all over the place. It's really cool. I haven't got to check out the ITS Season 12 too much, like we talked about, but I'm stoked that it's around, and I'm just more thrilled to play more Infinity and utilize it,
The box is great.
Yeah.
And it's cheaper than it usually is.
Yeah, I was shocked.
Yeah.
Breakdown, I think it's what it's called.
Yeah,
Yeah.
ITS 12 breakdown.
I'm down with it.
Fun little lore tidbit in there involving the Concilium thing, which is kind of just a summary of what's in the rule book or in the lore book.
You mentioned that you were wanting to tell us a little bit about the Azrael and the QK tonight there, Zach. Did you have some lore that you'd like to share with us? 'Cause I'd like to hear.
Yeah, I can give you the basic information on the Capu Calci, since you seem to be quite engrossed into them at this point in time.
I love QK. Yeah.
Yeah, Capu Calci, or translated as the Men of the Gate. They are the defenders of the Silk from the beginning of its inception to its last delivery point. They are the largest military group in the human sphere. That's mostly due to the combined wealth they use to hire mercenaries, privateers, along with their own provided military from the Hashib, or the president of Hakazam. But Hakazam's two leaders are the Hashib, the president, and the Caliph. I'm sorry, not the Caliph. The Caliph, who is, I want to say, a board member. They're not elected per se, but they are usually the wealthiest person in the human sphere, and are often targeted for assassinations. There's a few fun stories in there involving meetings with the Caliph that is usually like they have to take you in a car, run you around a city for like 2 hours before actually taking you to his hidden complex where he's only going to be at for a week before he's moved again. Simply because he's so wealthy and so powerful, because he controls the silk, he controls resurrection, the thing that makes resurrection possible. He controls it, and the QK controls the entire delivery process from beginning to end. It controls the transportation. It controls all the caravanseries and trade depots where it could possibly go through. They have outposts within the various nations of the human sphere. Where there is silk, or where there is silk being used, you will find the Capucalci, or privateers under their employ, or they're privateers fighting other privateers who are under other people's employ. But the Capucalci defends most of the spaceways as a side tangent for that. Also involving in that, they are very good friends with Corregidor, because of course Corregidor being the shipbuilders and the ship breakers and the ship repair yards for most of the space area, they get along very well, which is why you see Aguasiles, Iguanas, and Mobile Brigada in the Capucalci, because they very closely work together and are very good friends.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, because I do like that aspect of getting to play some of the Nomad fun. The Brigada guy is a lot like the Azrael in profile, but he has a lieutenant option, which is kind of the special part about him. Yeah.
And the Azrael specifically, the Angels of Death, are the personal guards of the last Caliph that was in power. Because when a Caliph comes into power, he brings his own bodyguards, but the bodyguards in the last employ may not be trusted, but they're still very strong soldiers, very knowledgeable soldiers with a lot of experience. So they don't want to send them anywhere. They don't want to kick them out. Instead, they send them to the Azrael regiment, where they're given the larger armor and weaponry, and sent to the front lines to really make that impact that their weapons and armor can bring.
Cool. Why do you think they got continuous damage?
I have no earthly idea. The +1 damage makes sense because they do use higher caliber weaponry, but the continuous damage, I have no idea.
Their bullets are on fire.
I guess they're firing magnesium rounds or something.
Leave gaping wounds, and I don't know.
They deserved it. It's a beautiful thing. That is a fun profile to run. Honestly, I was struggling with QK. My first opinion was like, I don't know. I don't see anything. I'm not getting that wow factor. Yan-Yans are cool. But...
Yeah. Another fun tidbit is Capucalci was a testing bed for most of the fire team rules that we have nowadays. Harris's were originally Odalisks. Wild cards were originally Hafsas. That's sort of where the ideas of wild cards and fire teams outside of core fire teams first came about, along with the idea of Silhouette 5 heavy infantry. The anathematic was kind of the first, but the anathematic wasn't silhouetted. It just existed as a larger being. But the anathematic and the Azrael were kind of really the first Silhouette 5 heavy infantry to come about.
I really like that sec band as well. That Doctor with Doctor +3, 360 visor, and NCO with wildcard capability. It's pretty nice.
Those sec band are wild cards now? Woo.
Yep, sec band are not wild cards, and they have NCO natively.
Yeah, you can have up to 2 in a given core link. Yeah. So you take 2 and you spread them about in your different links.
Well, no, you can have 2 up. You can have up to 2 in any link. Yeah. So you can have more than 2 sec band. It's just you can only have 2 in a link.
They're very nice to interchange around to what you might want it to at a given time. Throw in a duo with the Azrael is really nice. The interesting thing too that I realized just as we're talking about this, I was studying the iguana and just tags, and how a lot of tags right now they have Gizmo Kits. but they're not necessarily engineers. And I was learning about how, you know how like a doctor, as long as it's healing somebody with a cube, it can spin a command point and re-roll that. Well, I knew that you could re-roll when you did an engineering roll, but that's only against a remote, something that has remote presence.
Remote presence, yep.
Yeah, I didn't realize that. So I was like, oh,
Yep.
detail.
And I'm hearing a lot of wrongness about the Gizmo Kits. The Gizmo Kit specifically is if the tag is hit with a Gizmo Kit from an engineer, that is the roll that they make for the Gizmo Kit to give them the wound back.
Okay.
That's not the fact that they can repair themselves on that roll. That's the roll they use if they're hit with a Gizmo,
The Gizmo Kit. Okay.
I don't know if I'm following all the way. I'm sorry, but
So they don't have an embedded Gizmo Kit.
They do
can
not
use?
have an embedded in Gizmo Kit. That would be regen. If they had
Yeah.
regen, it would be called regen. Gizmo
So-
Kit, when you see Gizmo Kit equals 11, engineers with Gizmo Kits, if the engineer uses a Gizmo Kit
Oh.
on the tag, that is
Oh.
the roll it must make for the Gizmo Kit to repair a wound.
it's not that they actually have one.
No.
Okay.
No.
Wow.
If they had a Gizmo Kit, it would be in the weapons profile.
Gotcha. Yeah. So now I'm wanting to look at some of the. I don't know if any of the tags I've seen have ever actually had one. Then.
No, none of them do.
No.
Yeah.
Regen is regen. Gizmo Kits are a weapon used by engineers to repair. And the Gizmo Kit doesn't repair on the engineers anything. It repairs based on the profile given in the thing it's hitting.
Gotcha.
So in this case, iguanas, I think of Gizmo Kit 11. So if an engineer comes up, instead of doing an engineer roll, they shoot their Gizmo Kit at it, then it rolls on the Gizmo Kit profile fizz of 11.
Yeah, gotcha. I'm pulling that up on the screen right now just to give that
Are
visual
most of them
aid.
11? Because I'm not seeing any that aren't 11.
Yeah, I don't know if they're all 11 or not. I just know the iguana's 11. I think Maggie is 11 too.
The two Yu-Ching tags are both 11.
Maggie used to be 17.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah, it was better to Gizmo Kit Maggie than to
Wow.
actually repair
That's
her.
insane. I think
That-
that's
Yeah,
and it's
Salamandre's 11 as well.
I think that's partly. It's kind of like how like bikers usually have a fizz minus. Like they'll have a fizz -3 on their dodge. Kind of like in 3, it was like bikers and didn't remotes and bikers and should have a -3 their dodge roll. It's kind of like one of those type things that translated over. I feel like.
Ooh, Jordan says Pano tags are 13. So that's a bit of a boost for Pano tags.
Whoa.
So
That
it
means
might
your
actually be
Gizmo
better than...
Kit, yeah, shoot them with the Gizmo Kit because you use your
Yeah.
BS to launch it, right?
Yeah.
Yes, use your PS to launch it.
Yeah, so you shoot it with your higher BS, which is probably only a 12.
Just sucks for those TO tags.
Ooh. Ow.
Sorry, Cutter.
Woof.
No, that's cool though. I'm glad you pointed that out because I was definitely overlooking the fact that they don't have Gizmo Kits and can't heal.
Yeah,
themselves.
I've been hearing that a lot. I'm like, no, if it had regen, it would be regen. Regen
Yeah.
is a specific rule.
That makes sense. And yeah, the iguana is a
Yeah.
perfect example of a tag that does not have the remote presence, so you can't go over there and re-roll it with a command point. And if you fail the roll, you actually reduce a wound.
Yeah, and I'm really disappointed they didn't keep the manned tag discount because it's a really big thing that engineers for remote presence tags can re-roll and have that extra unconscious state, whereas man tags don't have that extra conscious state and can't re-roll. So now Maggie is about the same price as a what do you call it? What's the big Pano tag? The
cutter-
Jodam.
Oh, okay.
The Jodam, but the Jodam has a far more reliable, even at Whip 12, is a far more reliable method of coming back as opposed to Maggie.
Dude, I
Yeah.
like what Jordan said in the chat that mimetism specifically only impacts enemies. So the -6
really?
cutter actually wouldn't be affected by the
Oh.
shot. It's pretty
That's
cool.
interesting.
Don't remember. I don't know when the last time I actually played where I was interacting with my own guy with mimetism, but
Interesting to note. Yeah,
all right.
that's the fun thing
I
about.
guess that falls under the rule that negatives only impact enemies.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what's so
that's
fun.
true. Yeah,
That's very strange. It's like, okay, this little piece of my field, you can see through it.
Right.
Yeah, heck, I mean, just right before the show, like I've been trying to read up more intently on fire teams, and I'm not going to go too far into this because we're about to get out of here. But you had mentioned that I think there's been so many games where we've done coordinated orders and broke members out of a fire team by applying a coordinated order to them. We actually can't coordinated order members.
Yeah, and I yell at the screen every time you do it.
Yeah, you can't do that. You can't do that. I'm getting better at not messing up, but the worst thing is missing.
You and your profiles have a problem.
That's what I was
too.
about to say. Missing the stats now is my next.
No,
thing.
the John Bazan's a BS12. He's not 13. Stop it.
Like when you're moving fast, you're like 12, 13, whatever. But like, man, you're talking crits, not crits. It's crazy. Don't worry, guys. Like I'm gonna suck less as we keep going here.
All in experience, all in time.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm excited about tomorrow. We're going to have some good reps to be showing. We're going to show that new forest board off, and we're going to be doing some mind wipe. The next just few missions in general over the next few weeks going to be safe area, frontline, and mind wipe.
Yep.
Yeah. So looking forward to that. I'm excited I got a vanilla combined list and some more QK and Rama in store, and I'm still excited to play more Cosmoflot, to be honest. Even though that's pretty direct on how I like to run them, I don't have very many variations to how I want to play Cosmoflot. It's insert Mirage 5, insert double Barapode William Wallace, and then charge. But yeah, it's been a great hour of talking Infinity, the beautiful game that it is. We should probably mention, thank you for everybody that tuned in, but if you're watching this and you want to ask any questions for us to answer next week or just topics, then put it in the comments below and we'll be sure to talk about those things. Not next week, but the week after next is the bi-weekly show. So episode 4 has been fun, and episode 5 will be the Sunday after next. Bat reps to come between here and there. We'd love to hear about your favorite Infinity missions, and maybe you could help us pick our next missions coming after these 3 that we're about to play. List out your favorite 3. That'd be great. We could maybe do a little poll or something. But yeah, appreciate everybody. It's been awesome. Keep taking fun seriously. We'll catch you.